Chapter 3454. You can't do this. Lu Ming was speechless. He took out another piece of divine crystal, but the result was the same. I don't believe it. Let's try something else. Then, Lu Ming took out a fragment of a divine weapon and threw it on the ground. The result was the same. It was swallowed by the ground. He took out the refining materials, medicinal herbs, and medicinal pills. No matter what he took out, as long as he threw it on the ground, it would be swallowed. This place doesn't allow people to make marks. Am I supposed to rely on my luck? If I'm lucky, I'll be able to get out, but if I'm unlucky, I'll be trapped here? Lu Ming was speechless. In the end, Lu Ming could only brace himself and move forward. Just like that, Lu Ming walked around in circles for 10 days, but he still couldn't find the exit. On this day, when Lu Ming came to a fork in the road, his body suddenly flashed. Two figures appeared in front of Lu Ming and blocked his way. Finally, one of you is here. Hee, another mark. One of the young men sneered and stared at Lu Ming. You don't know me? Lu Ming was surprised. Do we have to know you? You're just a seventh heaven divine king. Do you think we know you? The other young man said disdainfully. It seemed that not everyone had seen Lu Ming before. By the way, you said there would be another mark. What do you mean? Lu Ming asked. It's okay to tell you. This maze will swallow everything, so it's impossible to make a mark. However, it won't swallow living things. So, as long as we beat you half to death, seal your cultivation, and throw you at a fork in the road, won't there be another mark? One of the young men explained. Yeah, that's a good idea. Why didn't I think of it? Lu Ming clapped his hands. He had thought wrongly before and thought of marking things. He didn't expect to use living things as a mark. That's right. If the wall swallowed living things, wouldn't he be swallowed too? Kid, do you understand now? Be a good boy and be a mark. We'll go easy on you. A young man laughed sinisterly as he and another young man rushed towards Lu Ming. Then, a loud rumbling noise sounded. After a few breaths of time, two youths howled in grief. They each laid on a fork in the road, their faces bruised and swollen. They couldn't move at all. Lu Ming clapped his hands and said, Be a good symbol. Lu Ming smiled and walked towards an unmarked intersection. Not long after, Lu Ming came to another fork in the road. To his surprise, he discovered that there was a young man lying on the ground at one of the junctions. His eyes were rolled back weakly. Obviously, many people had already thought of this idea and started to use people as markers. After seeing Lu Ming, the young man hurriedly shouted, Brother, save me, save me. Don't worry about being a mark. With your cultivation base, you might get killed if you fight for the opportunity. I'm doing this for your own good, Lu Ming said earnestly before walking towards an unmarked intersection. Sure enough, he found that he would often see some markers at the next fork in the road. Of course, there were also some ignorant people who wanted to make a move on Lu Ming and make Lu Ming a mark. In the end, they ended up becoming a mark themselves. Of course, not everyone wanted to make a move on Lu Ming. Some people knew Lu Ming. When they saw Lu Ming, their expressions changed and they turned to run. Just like that, Lu Ming wandered around for another 10 days. As time passed, more and more markers appeared at the forks. There were hundreds of thousands of people entering the maze this time. Although the maze was huge, it was impossible for there to be so many intersections. Therefore, in the end, all the intersections that were not accessible were marked out. Lu Ming walked more and more smoothly and his speed became faster and faster. After another day, Lu Ming finally saw light. In front of him, he saw the exit. Lu Ming was overjoyed and strode towards the exit. Out of the cave, there was a huge platform. In front of the platform, there was an abyss. Below the abyss, there was a scorching aura. He could even see the flames dancing. But these flames were pure black and looked like demonic flames. Above the abyss, there was a stone bridge that led to the front. At the end of the bridge, there was a young man standing with his hands behind his back, blocking the bridge. Around the platform, there were many young men, at least 1,000 of them. These people were angrily staring at the young man, but they did not dare to make a move because the young man was Murong Qiushue. Murong Qiushue, you've been blocking this bridge, what is your meaning? If you don't want to cross the bridge, Then don't block us. The second-ranked Feng Qin Shui shouted. That's right, Murong Qiu Shui, move aside. Although you are strong, there are so many of us, you are not a match for us. The third-ranked 6 Min Mountains Mountain Master coldly said. Of all the people present, only they dared to talk to Murong Qiu Shui like this. I am waiting for someone. When I see someone, you can naturally go over. Murong Qiu Shui lightly said. What does it matter to us that you are waiting for someone? Move aside. Feng Qin Shui loudly shouted, her aura becoming stronger. Coming! At this time, Murong Qiu Shui opened his mouth and looked at the entrance of the maze. Everyone's eyes couldn't help looking over and they found that it was Lu Ming. It's him! Everyone's heart skipped a beat. It seemed like Murong Qiu Shui was waiting for Lu Ming and wanted to kill Lu Ming here. Little brat, you're finally here. This is the place I chose for you to be buried. How about it? Are you satisfied? Murong Qiu Shui indifferently said. He walked towards Lu Ming and moved aside from the bridge. Let's go. When Murong Qiu Shui moved aside, there were people who charged towards the stone bridge. It was very calm and there was nothing strange. These people quickly crossed the stone bridge and disappeared on the other side. Let's go too. Feng Qin Shui, the 6 Min Mountains Mountain Master, and the others all moved, charging towards the stone bridge. In the blink of an eye, only Lu Ming and Murong Qiu Shui were left on the platform. This time, Murong Qiu Shui was not in a rush. This was because he was the first one to pass through the maze and he had already crossed the stone bridge, entering the other side. But the other side was not calm. If he wanted to pass, it would not be easy. Letting these people pass first would save him some energy. It wouldn't be too late for him to rush over after killing Lu Ming. Then let's see if you have the skills. The Tyrant God Spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand. At the same time, Lu Ming activated the battle character art to increase his battle strength by 5 times. His body began to grow as he turned into a golden armored ancient god. Facing Murong Qiu Shui, Lu Ming did not dare be careless. He used his full strength as soon as he attacked. At the same time, Murong Qiu Shui also released his primordial divine body, turning it into 6 arms. He looked very dignified, just like a Buddha. Streams of water appeared, turning into 6 flying daggers. This time, before Murong Qiu Shui could make a move, Lu Ming made a move first. He had already activated the battle character art to increase his battle strength by 5 times. The wind-extinguishing boots appeared and fused with Lu Ming's feet, increasing Lu Ming's speed to its peak. A spear glow flew out, stabbing at Murong Qiu Shui's forehead. Chapter 3455. Lu Ming's spear stabbed at Murong Qiu Shui's forehead as fast as lightning. But before the spear could reach him, a flying dagger flew out from Murong Qiu Shui's hand. Fast, too fast. Lu Ming had never seen an attack faster than this. Even if it was Emperor Sword 1 sword, it still wouldn't be enough. Then, the flying dagger collided with the spear and released a terrifying explosion. The Overlord God's spear trembled and buzzed without stopping. Shio shio shio. At the same time, the 5 flying daggers in Murong Qiu Shui's other 5 hands also shot out. They turned into 5 bolts of lightning and shot at Lu Ming's forehead, throat, and heart. Profound Sky Shield. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and the Profound Sky Shield appeared in front of him, blocking his entire body. However, the 5 flying daggers actually made a turn and flew behind Lu Ming to launch an attack. Void-shattering sword, ruler's gate, heavenly demon blade. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and several origin secret techniques appeared, flying at the 5 flying daggers. At the same time, the Overlord God's spear wildly swept behind him. Hong hong hong. With a series of explosions, the 5 flying daggers were all blocked. So many origin secret techniques, it seems like your cultivation technique is not small. Not bad, not only can I obtain the Life Soul Source Stone by killing you, I can also obtain your cultivation technique, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Murong Qiu Shui's cold voice sounded and his killing intent became even stronger. His aura became stronger and his divine power became brighter. Finally, a flying dagger appeared. This flying dagger was no longer condensed from water, but rather a stone dagger. It released an ancient aura. This was Murong Qiushui's origin secret technique. But it did not stop there. After the first flying dagger appeared, a second one appeared, and then a third one appeared. In the end, there were actually 9 stone flying daggers that appeared around Murong Qiushui. 9 kinds of origin secret techniques? No, it's just one. Lu Ming's eyes opened wide in shock. In the beginning, he thought that Murong Qiushui had 9 kinds of origin secret techniques, but looking carefully, he found that this wasn't right. The 9 flying daggers came from the same source and were clearly the same origin secret technique. Could this be a saber formation? Lu Ming narrowed his eyes. He instinctively felt that these 9 flying daggers must be very powerful. Most people would only awaken one origin secret skill, such as Lu Ming's Gate of Domination, Hegemon Spear, Heavenly Demon Blade, Tianxian Shield, and so on. However, there was no rule stating that one could only awaken one origin source secret technique. Origin secret techniques were just a type of secret technique. Secret techniques were ever-changing. For example, the wind-extinguishing boots only had 2 pieces. It wasn't surprising that there were 9 of them. Lu Ming had heard that there were some origin source secret techniques that could be used to form a sword formation or even an army. Generally, those kinds of secret techniques were very powerful. Have a taste of my immortal slaying flying saber. Murong Qiushui roared out. With a wave of his hand, 9 flying daggers flew out at Lu Ming. It was as if they pierced through space and appeared in front of Lu Ming in a flash. Lu Ming didn't dare be careless. He controlled various origin source secret techniques to fly out, wanting to block the immortal slaying flying saber. The void-shattering sword was the fastest. In a flash, it collided with one of the immortal slaying flying saber, exploding with a terrifying explosion. The void-shattering sword trembled and was sent flying back. Then it was the heavenly devil blade, the immemorial dragon god's horn, and the others. They collided with the immortal slaying flying saber and were sent flying back one by one. Then, Lu Ming stabbed out with the Hegemon Spear and collided with one of the immortal slaying flying saber. Suddenly, he felt a terrifying power surging towards Lu Ming. His body trembled and he couldn't help retreating. It really is a saber formation. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The 9 flying daggers were arranged in a mysterious position. The power of each flying dagger was shockingly strong. Xiao, the remaining flying daggers flew towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming used the profound sky shield and the Gate of Sovereigns to protect his body. The immortal slaying flying saber collided with the profound sky shield and the Gate of Sovereigns, causing a terrifying explosion. It shook violently as if they would explode at any time. Lu Ming's body was sent flying back by the powerful force. Murong Qiushui is indeed the number 1 on the God King list. The origin source secret technique, flying saber formation, is too powerful. Dongfang Tunke is no match for this saber formation. Lu Ming's mind was racing, but the other party's flying daggers did not stop attacking. They collided with Lu Ming's origin secret skill. Lu Ming was blasted back by the powerful force until he retreated to the edge of the abyss. It seems like I have to activate the true power of the Hegemon Spear. Lu Ming's eyes revealed a cold glint. He planned to activate the power of the Hegemon Spear after severing a shackle. Lu Ming, there's no need to fight to the death with him. Take a step back first. The demon fire below the abyss is useful to me, but it can't hurt you. At this moment, Bone Demon's voice sounded. The demon fire is useful to you? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he immediately understood Bone Demon's meaning. The demon fire was a terrifying flame that could burn a person's body and soul. The abyss was filled with this kind of flame. With their cultivation below the divine monarch realm, they would definitely die if they went down. However, Bone Demon said that the demon fire was useful to him and it couldn't hurt Lu Ming. His meaning was very simple. He wanted Lu Ming to go down first and let Murong Qiushui think that Lu Ming was dead. Then Lu Ming would follow behind and watch the tigers fight. He would let the other prodigies compete with each other while he reaped the benefits. To be honest, Murong Qiushui was very strong. It was said that the top 3 people on the God King list all had their origin secret techniques, severed a shackle. Murong Qiu Shui clearly hadn't activated this power yet, otherwise it would be even more shocking. Even if Lu Ming activated the power of the hegemon spear, he might not be able to beat Murong Qiu Shui. This was a true peerless prodigy that came from a large race in the universe. To be recognized by the Life Spirit Source Stone, how could he be weak? Lu Ming's cultivation was 2 levels lower, and this was his biggest weakness. Brat, hand over the Life Spirit Source Stone and the cultivation technique you cultivate. Otherwise, I'll throw you into the abyss and let you die without a burial. Murong Qiu Shui coldly shouted. If you want to make a move, then make your move. Stop wasting words. Lu Ming coldly said. You're seeking death. Murong Qiu Shui angrily roared, but he still hesitated. If he threw Lu Ming into the abyss, he wouldn't be able to obtain anything. But at this time, Lu Ming suddenly hit a flying dagger with his spear and there was a loud explosion. Lu Ming's body shook and he was sent flying above the abyss. When Lu Ming flew above the abyss, there was a powerful force that swept over Lu Ming and directly pulled Lu Ming into the abyss. No, damn it! Murong Qiu Shui angrily roared as he watched Lu Ming fall into the abyss and disappear. He wasn't worried about Lu Ming's safety, but rather he couldn't obtain the Life Spirit Source Stone and cultivation technique from Lu Ming. This made him very angry. At this moment he hated Lu Ming to the bone. If he wanted to die, then he should have died. Why didn't he give him the Life Spirit Source Stone and cultivation technique? Chapter 3456. No matter, the Life Soul Source Stone fragments are peerless treasures. A trivial demon Azura's flame can't destroy them. You go and fight for the primordial divine spirit's blood first. I'll think of a way to let you enter the demon Azura's flame and obtain the other party's Life Soul Source Stone fragments. A voice came from Murong Qiu Shui's body. This voice came from the Life Soul Source Stone spirit in his body. All right, we can only do this for now. Murong Qiu Shui nodded. His face was gloomy as killing intent flickered. Then he stepped onto the stone bridge and left this place. Lu Ming was swept away by a power and couldn't help falling into the abyss. Immediately, the demon Azura's flame enveloped him, causing intense pain to come from Lu Ming's body, as if he was being torn apart. Bone Demon, the fire is burning your butt, quickly block the demon Azura's flame. Lu Ming quickly sent a voice transmission to Bone Demon. No rush, the demon Azura's flame has a very good tempering effect on the divine body and soul. Your primordial divine body has been improving too quickly during this time, so it's a good time to polish it. At the same time, it's also beneficial to your soul, increasing its strength. Bone Demon's voice came out. Lu Ming was speechless, he could only grit his teeth and endure. Soon, the demon Azura's flame enveloped Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's flame seeped into Lu Ming's body and even into Lu Ming's soul. Lu Ming gritted his teeth and opened the frightening feather painting, allowing the demon Azura's flame to envelop his soul. Zzz suddenly, there was the sound of barbecuing. Lu Ming took in a cold breath. It was too painful, Lu Ming almost roared out. Luckily, Lu Ming held back in the end. Soon, Lu Ming fell to the bottom of the abyss. More and more demon Azura's flame gathered around Lu Ming, becoming denser and denser. Lu Ming's body began to emit a burnt smell. Bone Demon, I can't take it anymore. The flames are too strong. If this continues, I'll be burned to ashes. Lu Ming shouted. The demon Azura's flame was too strong. It exceeded the range he could resist. Let me. Bone Devil's voice came out, and then it flew out from Lu Ming's forehead. His entire body was made up of pitch-black bones. At this moment, there seemed to be an attractive force. The surrounding Mo Luo's fire was constantly gathering towards the Bone Demon's body. The Mo Luo's fire enveloping Lu Ming's body naturally became much fainter. Finally, it was within Lu Ming's tolerance range. Lu Ming breathed a sigh of relief and silently endured the test of Mara's fire. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. Lu Ming felt that many impurities had been burned out of his god body. His body had become much purer. The biggest change was in his soul. At this moment, Lu Ming's soul was radiant. It was at least twice as strong as before. In just 3 short days, his soul had improved so much. The effects were truly astonishing. But as time went on, the effect became worse and worse, as if his soul had already gotten used to the burning of the fire of Mara. With the improvement of his soul, Lu Ming felt his mind become much clearer. Even his perceptions seemed to have improved. The soul was the foundation of a person. It's been 3 days, it's about time. Any later and this opportunity will be snatched away by others. Lu Ming said to Bone Devil. In these 3 days, Bone Devil had absorbed a large amount of Azura flames. The Azura flames in this abyss were almost completely absorbed by Bone Devil. At least 80% of it had been absorbed. Bone Devil had undergone a great change. His bones had become smoother and brighter, looking very solid. Especially in his eye sockets, there were 2 balls of flames dancing like 2 small suns. Obviously, Bone Devil's harvest this time was great. Good, let's go. There seems to be a passage in front. Bone Devil said. Then, he turned into a ray of light and flew back into Lu Ming's forehead, hiding in the frightening feather painting. Lu Ming walked towards one side of the abyss. Soon he saw a wall. Under the wall, there was a cave. It was a passage. Lu Ming stepped into the passage. Strangely enough, when Lu Ming stepped into the passage, the Azura flames completely disappeared. It had been isolated by some kind of energy. Lu Ming increased his speed and rushed along the passage. Careful! Bone Devil suddenly warned him. At the same time, Lu Ming also felt a powerful pressure coming from the side. At the same time, he heard a fierce whistling sound. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he retreated. With a bang, a sword slashed at the place where Lu Ming had just stepped. Boom! Following that, a 3-meter-tall figure appeared not far from Lu Ming. A puppet! Lu Ming's gaze changed. This was clearly a puppet made of bronze. It held a bronze sword and coldly stared at Lu Ming. Boom! Boom! Following that, more and more bronze puppets appeared on both sides of the passage. They seemed to have directly charged out of the passage's walls. There were a total of 18 of them, and they coldly stared at Lu Ming. Come! Lu Ming clenched his hand, and the Tyrant God Spear appeared. At the same time, he activated the battle art. As if sensing Lu Ming's battle intent, 2 of the bronze puppets took a step forward. The ground rumbled, and their 3-meter-tall figures charged at Lu Ming. Their 2-meter-long bronze swords slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming brandished the Tyrant God Spear and swept it out, colliding with the 2 bronze swords. Buzz! The Tyrant God Spear violently vibrated, and Lu Ming felt a terrifying energy charge at him. Lu Ming couldn't help retreating 2 steps. It's so strong. Lu Ming's face changed. The strength of the 2 bronze puppets was shockingly strong. Without a doubt, they were peak divine kings. However, their strength was so strong that an ordinary peak divine king would probably be killed in 1 strike. Swoosh! After the 2 bronze puppets repelled Lu Ming, they didn't stop attacking and continued to charge at Lu Ming. Fortunately, the passage wasn't big. At most, there could only be 3 or 4 bronze puppets attacking at the same time. However, there was a huge problem for Lu Ming, and that was that he couldn't use his ancient god body. The passage here was at most 10 meters tall, and his ancient god body couldn't be used at all. If he really used it, he would probably be squeezed to death. With a boom, Lu Ming's aura became stronger. He successfully activated the battle art. His strength increased by 5 times, and he swung his spear twice, clashing with the bronze swords. However, this time, Lu Ming didn't retreat and successfully blocked the attacks of the 2 bronze puppets. Following that, Lu Ming launched a counterattack. The Tyrant God's spear vibrated, and a long spear river appeared, enveloping the 2 bronze puppets. Countless small spear lights bombarded the bronze puppets, but something happened that made Lu Ming's face change. Those spear lights bombarded the bronze puppets' bodies, producing clanking sounds, but the bronze puppets were unharmed. They didn't break through the defense. What a shocking defense! Lu Ming frowned. At this moment, it seemed that the 2 bronze puppets had fallen below, and another 2 bronze puppets charged over. A total of 4 bronze puppets waved their bronze swords, splitting the long spear river. Chapter 3457. 4 bronze puppets charged towards Lu Ming, breaking through the long river of spear Dao and slashing down towards Lu Ming. Come out! Lu Ming's heart stirred and the void-shattering sword flew out. In a flash, it appeared beside a bronze puppet and slashed down. With a clang, the void-shattering sword was repelled and only a shallow mark was left on the bronze puppet's body. The void-shattering sword won't work either. Lu Ming muttered as he retreated, dodging the attacks of the bronze puppets. However, the 4 bronze puppets chased after him relentlessly. I can't use the ancient god body here, so I can only activate the power of the Overlord God Spear. Lu Ming muttered, and then his divine power erupted. The Overlord God Spear trembled slightly and erupted with a terrifying power. The power of the Overlord God Spear after severing the shackles was completely stimulated by Lu Ming. Lu Ming thrust his spear towards a bronze puppet, deflecting the opponent's battle sword and piercing the bronze puppet's chest. Boom! The Overlord God Spear's power erupted, and the bronze puppet's chest exploded, creating a large hole. Its body was also sent flying. It's broken! Lu Ming was overjoyed. As long as he could break through the opponent's defense, he could defeat them. Then, the wind-extinguishing boots appeared and merged with Lu Ming's feet. Lu Ming's figure flashed and dodged the attacks of several bronze puppets. Then he swept his spear and heavily struck a bronze puppet's body. The bronze puppet was sent flying and crashed into the wall of the passage, creating a violent explosion. The place where he was struck by the long spear also exploded, and his body was almost split into 2. Then, Lu Ming's spear continuously swept out, bombarding several puppets. These puppets were sent flying one after another. However, these puppets were not crippled. After being sent flying, they struggled to get up and charged towards Lu Ming. But after a while, he was sent flying again. Furthermore, Lu Ming was attacking the same spot where he had attacked previously. After 2 consecutive attacks, the bronze puppet finally could not take it anymore. There was a huge hole in its chest that was penetrated from the front to the back. It staggered a few times and fell to the ground. The other was struck by the Tyrant God's spear twice in a row. His body was split into 2 and he was crippled. The other 2 weren't any better. 4 of the bronze puppets were crippled, but the other bronze puppets continued to attack Lu Ming. Boom! Boom! A violent explosion rang out in this tunnel. A moment later, the place was filled with a pile of broken bronze. The 18 bronze puppets were all defeated. Following that, Lu Ming continued to move forward. On the road behind him, Lu Ming would be attacked by bronze puppets from time to time. However, after the Tyrant God's spear severed a shackle, its attack power was astonishing and it destroyed these puppets one by one. Lu Ming had traveled for roughly 1,000 miles and destroyed at least 100 bronze puppets. Finally, Lu Ming made it through the tunnel and arrived at a platform. In front of the platform, there was a flight of stairs. At the top of the stairs was a stone door. The stone door was incomparably tall, tens of thousands of miles high. Even if Lu Ming transformed into a gold-armored ancient god, he still couldn't compare. I'm almost at the end. Where does this stone door lead to? Lu Ming was very curious. He walked up the stairs and arrived at the stone door. He pushed with all his strength, but the stone door didn't budge at all. Boom! Lu Ming activated the battle character art and transformed into a gold-armored ancient god body. He continued to push with all his strength, but it still didn't budge. I don't believe it. Break for me. Lu Ming condensed the Tyrant God's spear and attacked the stone door. The stone door only trembled slightly, but there wasn't a single mark on it. Even when Lu Ming activated the Tyrant God's spear's full power, he still didn't leave a single mark on it. I can't open it at all. It seems this path is different. I can only go back and return to the abyss. Lu Ming was speechless. He had spent so much effort, but he had actually taken a dead end. No, there's writing here. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He saw a stone tablet at the bottom right of the stone door. However, the stone tablet was too small. Compared to the stone door, it was just a tiny bit. Lu Ming had overlooked it before. Lu Ming undid his ancient god body and returned to his normal state. He walked in front of the stone tablet. Place all the puppets under the stone door. The door will open. There was only one line of words on the stone tablet. All the puppets? Are they the puppets I defeated before? Lu Ming muttered. He quickly used his movement technique and returned to where he came from. Fortunately, those puppets were still there. They had been torn apart by Lu Ming and were scattered all over the passage. Lu Ming hurriedly took out an empty storage ring and put all the puppet remains into the storage ring. After returning to where he came from and putting away all the puppet remains, Lu Ming returned to the door. With a wave of his hand, all of the puppet corpses fell to the ground below the gate. The gate immediately began to move, and a ray of light spread out, enveloping the puppet corpses. The puppet corpses then flew into the gate and disappeared. It can't be recycling, right? Lu Ming muttered. He guessed that it really was recycling. Once these puppet remains were collected, it wouldn't be long before another group of lively bronze puppets appeared in that passage. Finally, a sound came from the door, and it slowly opened. Lu Ming looked over and was startled. Behind the door was a huge mountain. Lu Ming didn't hesitate and charged out. He immediately found himself at the peak of the mountain. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming heard intense rumbling as soon as he appeared on the mountain. It was as if there was an intense battle going on around the mountain. What's going on? Let's go and have a look. Lu Ming randomly chose a direction and went to the side of the mountain. He looked down. There was a path that stretched from the foot of the mountain to the top. Lu Ming saw a group of people fighting with a group of strange wild beasts. Feng Qingxue. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. The person in front of the group was a beautiful woman. She was Feng Qingxue, ranked second on the Divine King list. Many wild beasts attacked them from all directions. These wild beasts looked like divine dragons, but Lu Ming could tell that they were not divine dragons, but dragon beasts. There were all kinds of dragon beasts, including flood dragons, savage dragons, demonic dragons, and so on. These dragon beasts were very similar to divine dragons. They were covered in scales and had only 4 claws on their abdomens. They roared and attacked Feng Qingxue and the other geniuses. Feng Qingxue was very strong. She held a long sword in her hand. Every time she slashed, a dragon beast would be killed. Blood stained the hillside. That is, suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes widened. He saw something strange. After the dragon beasts died, a wisp of blood qi flew to the top of the mountain from each dragon beast. Although it was only a wisp, 100 times thinner than a strand of hair, Lu Ming still noticed it. Every dragon beast had a wisp of blood qi flying to the top of the mountain. Chapter 3458. Feng Qingxue was very strong, but the mountain was very big, and there were countless dragon beasts. The dragon beasts kept charging at Feng Qingxue. Feng Qingxue wanted to climb to the top, but it was very slow. She had to kill many dragon beasts before she could move 10 meters forward. Every time a dragon was killed, a wisp of blood qi would fly to the top of the mountain. Lu Ming followed the blood qi and finally found an altar in the middle of the mountain. All the blood qi was flying toward the altar. Lu Ming walked over and found a drop of blood floating in the middle of the altar. All the blood qi was gathered in this drop of blood. As soon as Lu Ming approached, a loud roar could be heard from the blood. A vast and rich ancient aura surged toward him, filled with terrifying oppression. It was as if it was high and mighty, the ancestor of all life. It wanted to make people kneel down and submit to it. The blood of the primordial divine spirit. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He was sure that it was the blood of the primordial divine spirit. It turned out that the blood of the primordial divine spirit did not just exist. It gathered the power of the blood qi. Lu Ming understood that the blood of the primordial divine spirit had probably spread out and evolved into countless dragon beasts that were scattered all over the mountain. The dragon beasts that Feng Qingxue had killed earlier had a trace of the blood of the primordial divine spirit in them. After killing the dragon beasts, the power of the blood would be absorbed by the altar and gathered here, eventually becoming a drop of blood of the primordial divine spirit. At this moment, it seemed that a lot of blood qi had gathered. The roars of the dragon beasts could be heard from all directions, as well as the sounds of a great battle. Lu Ming walked in another direction and discovered another path. A group of elites was fighting with the dragon beasts. The young man at the front was the leader of 6 Min Mountain, who ranked 3rd on the Divine King list. Just like Feng Qingxue, every time they killed a dragon, a wisp of blood chi would gather at the altar and become a part of the drop of blood. Following which, Lu Ming came to another direction. There was another road and a group of youths was charging forward with all their might. The person in front was also a mountain lord. Lu Ming stood at the top of the mountain and circled around. He found a total of 9 paths, each of which was filled with fighting. This fellow Murong Qiushui, he really is powerful. On a road, Lu Ming found Murong Qiushui. Murong Qiushui was very strong and was far ahead. He was already halfway up the mountain and the number of dragon beasts that had died at his hands was innumerable. 9 flying daggers circled around his body. Every time they flew out, a dragon beast would be killed. He kept pushing forward. Not only were the people on this path incomparable to him, but even on other paths such as Feng Qingxue and the others, there was a certain gap between them and him. Climbing this mountain is like a test. Lu Ming finally understood. There were a total of 9 paths on this mountain. The geniuses who had come here would head to the top of the mountain from these 9 paths. They killed their way up, and the bloodlines of the dragons that were killed would be gathered together to form the blood of the original gods. Whoever reached the top of the mountain first would be able to obtain the blood of the primordial god. It seems like now is not the time to take the primordial god's blood. The more dragon beast bloodlines gathered, the better. I should wait. These people would never dream that I would already be at the top of the mountain. It seems like Murong Qiushui will be the first to reach the top. I wonder what kind of expression he will have when he reaches the top and sees me? Lu Ming's lips curled into a faint smile. He was looking forward to it. Lu Ming silently waited at the top of the mountain. Murong Qiushui and the others did not notice that there was an extra person at the top of the mountain. Time slowly passed and Murong Qiushui became braver as he fought, slowly approaching the top of the mountain. The others were also fighting with all their strength, using all their methods. They wanted to be the first to reach the top and obtain the primordial god's blood. As more and more dragon beasts were killed, more and more blood was gathered. The drop of primordial god's blood became more and more resplendent and the ancient aura became stronger and stronger. Lu Ming couldn't help being shocked. At the same time, his eyes burned with passion. If he could refine this drop of primordial god's blood, his primordial god's body would change. He would be able to refine his own drop of primordial god's blood and his primordial god's body would enter another level. After half an hour, Murong Qiushui's body was covered in blood as he finally reached the top of the mountain. It's about time, Lu Ming said in a low voice. Then he arrived beside the drop of primordial god's blood and reached out to grab it. A fierce roar came from the primordial god's blood, just like a dragon's roar. That's right. Lu Ming could see a very small dragon inside this drop of primordial god's blood. It was roaring at Lu Ming. A strong repulsive force repelled Lu Ming, preventing Lu Ming from approaching. You still want to resist? It's just a drop of blood. Come in for me. Lu Ming roared and forcefully grabbed it, wanting to put it into his storage ring. Instantly, a fierce roar came from the primordial god's blood. It resounded through the clouds and shook the entire mountain. What's going on? Why is there a fierce roar coming from the top of the mountain? Has someone already reached the top? Damn, it must be Murong Qiushui. Feng Qingxue and the others had ugly expressions on their faces. But they did not know that Murong Qiushui's face was even uglier. He had not reached the top yet, so why was there such a loud roar coming from the top? What was going on? Had someone reached the top before him? Impossible! Murong Qiushui angrily roared. He did not believe that someone could reach the top before him. He roared and wildly attacked. The dragons in front of him were killed one after another. At this moment, Lu Ming's hand was getting closer and closer to the primordial god's blood. Just as he was about to grab it, the drop of primordial god's blood suddenly wriggled and turned into a small sharp sword. With a slash, it cut open Lu Ming's hand. Then it merged with Lu Ming's blood and drilled into Lu Ming's body. It directly drilled into my body. Lu Ming was a little stunned. He wanted to put it away and slowly refine it. How did it merge with his blood and enter his body? Lu Ming. At this moment, an angry and unbelievable roar rang out. Murong Qiushue had rushed to the top of the mountain and saw Lu Ming put away the primordial god's blood. His eyes opened wide and filled with disbelief. Wasn't Lu Ming pushed into the abyss filled with the demon flame? Why wasn't he dead yet? And he had reached the top of the mountain before him? What was going on? Then he saw the door, and in an instant he understood. There was another way to reach this place. It turned out that his life and death struggle had all been for nothing. It had all been taken advantage of by Lu Ming. He almost spat out blood and went crazy. Chapter 3459. Murong Qiushue was so angry that his heart, liver, spleen, lungs, and kidneys were filled with pain. It was as disgusting as eating a dead rat. He had planned everything and fought to the death, but in the end it had all been taken advantage of by Lu Ming. Lu Ming, die for me! Murong Qiushue angrily roared as his handsome face twisted. With a roar he charged at Lu Ming. But Lu Ming was already prepared. His figure flashed as he charged through the door. He never thought that the moment he charged through the door would quickly close. It closed so quickly that Murong Qiushue did not even have time to charge through. Murong Qiushue, I have to thank you for this. If it wasn't for you pushing me into the abyss of the demon flame, I wouldn't have been able to obtain the primordial divine blood so easily. Lu Ming stood behind the door as he spoke with a smile of disdain. As soon as his voice fell, the door also closed with a kacha sound. On the other side, Murong Qiushue wildly charged forward, slamming his fist into the door. The door made a loud sound, but there was not a single mark left on it. Damn! Murong Qiushue angrily roared as his face turned fierce. 9 throwing knives appeared and kept slashing at the door, but it was no use at all. There was not a single mark on the door. Lu Ming, I will definitely cut you into 10,000 pieces. Murong Qiushue angrily roared as his killing intent reached its peak. Not long after, a figure flashed and Feng Qingshui appeared at the top of the mountain. Murong Qiushue, it seems like the primordial divine blood has been taken by you. Feng Qingshui stared at Murong Qiushue with sparkling eyes. Bullshit, the primordial divine blood is with Lu Ming. That brat came out of the door and stole the primordial divine blood. Murong Qiushue angrily roared. Lu Ming! Feng Qingshui was stunned. She had heard Murong Qiushue's roar before, but she suspected that Murong Qiushue was acting. He had clearly obtained it, but he was framing Lu Ming to prevent others from stealing it from him. But seeing Murong Qiushue's wild and angry expression, it didn't seem fake or like he was faking it. Rumble! Suddenly, the heavens shook and the earth trembled. The ground rumbled and a huge vortex appeared in the sky. Looks like we're about to leave now that we've obtained the primordial divine blood. Feng Qingshui said. This was clearly a passageway out. Once the primordial divine blood was obtained, many places would have this kind of vortex appear. As long as there were people, it would appear and send all living people out. Go out and kill Lu Ming. So what if he has the primordial divine blood? I want him dead. Murong Qiushue gave an angry roar and charged into the sky, charging into the vortex. The others also rushed into the whirlpool and left. However, Lu Ming did not leave because the primordial divine blood in his body was acting up. The door closed, and before he could even take a few steps, the primordial divine blood rushed through his body and almost pierced through Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming had no choice but to stop and use the ancient god tactic to refine the drop of blood. The primordial divine blood contained a shocking amount of energy. It turned into waves of energy and flowed through Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming crazily tried to refine it. Pai pala. Strange sounds kept coming out of his body. Every bone and muscle in his body was mutating and advancing to a terrifying realm. Puchi. Suddenly, a crack appeared on Lu Ming's body and blood spurted out. What's going on? Lu Ming's face changed. More and more cracks appeared on his body and blood kept flowing out. Not only that, but his muscles were also wriggling crazily. Cracks were also appearing all over his body. Even his bones were trembling. Some parts of his body had even broken. Lu Ming's body seemed to be breaking away from his control and heading toward destruction. It's the ancient god tactic. There's a problem with the ancient god tactic. Lu Ming quickly found the problem. It was the ancient god tactic that was causing his body to break apart. Damn it, the ancient god body that I bought was tampered with. Some parts of it were changed. Lu Ming roared in his heart. The complete ancient god tactic must have been tampered with. Otherwise, Lu Ming would have been able to tell. However, there were some parts of it that Lu Ming would not be able to tell if the order was slightly changed. The slightest difference could lead to a huge error. The difference of a single word could lead to a huge mistake. In fact, when Lu Ming broke through from the 7th transformation to the 8th transformation, there would have been a huge problem. He would have exploded and died. However, the light that Lu Ming had obtained in Fengyun Mountain was too magical. He had ignored the cultivation method and forcefully pushed the ancient god body to the 9th transformation. But now, when breaking through to the next level, the drawbacks were finally revealed. Lu Ming's divine body was about to disintegrate. Puchi, Kacha. Lu Ming's body was constantly cracking. His muscles were constantly tearing apart, and his bones were breaking. A terrifying energy was rampaging. Lu Ming was unwilling to accept this. He wanted to control his body, but he found that he was completely unable to. His body was gradually disintegrating. In the end, he would definitely die. Damn it! Lu Ming roared. It had not been easy for him to reach this step. He was unwilling to fall just like this. He used all his strength to resist, but it was useless. Bone Devil, do you have any ideas? Also, Rock Spirit, Old Liang. Lu Ming transmitted to Bone Devil and the others. But there was only silence. Bone Devil and the others were also helpless in this situation. Seeing Lu Ming in danger, that drop of primordial god blood was no longer restrained. It became even more unrestrained and rushed toward Lu Ming's head. At this critical moment, dragon roars came from every corner of Lu Ming's body. Then, 9 divine dragons appeared in Lu Ming's meridians. 9 nine-clawed dragons. It's the blood essence of 9 dragons. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He had once refined 9 drops of blood essence of 9 dragons. The blood essence was not ordinary blood. In the past, the blood essence of 9 dragons had merged with his blood. But now it appeared again. It turned into 9 dragons and rushed toward the drop of primordial god blood. With a swoosh, the 9 dragons rushed into the drop of primordial god blood. There was originally a small divine dragon in the drop of primordial god blood. Now it was fighting fiercely with the 9 dragons. In the end, the 9 dragons were stronger. After all, the 9 dragons had merged with Lu Ming. This was the main battlefield of the 9 dragons. It contained Lu Ming's will. The 9 nine-clawed dragons tore the divine dragon apart. Then, the drop of primordial god blood divided into 9 parts and flew toward Lu Ming's limbs and bones. The 9 parts of primordial god blood merged with Lu Ming's blood and spread to his muscles and bones. Suddenly, Lu Ming felt numb and itchy. Then his body recovered at an astonishing speed. His muscles and bones trembled, and those cracks quickly mended together, becoming whole again, perfect and flawless. Chapter 3460. It did not take long for Lu Ming to recover from his injuries. Then he began to evolve rapidly. His body trembled uncontrollably, and with a loud roar, his body began to grow rapidly. Soon, he turned into a gold-armored ancient god 1,000,000 meters tall. Fortunately, this place was spacious and tall. However, the gate was tens of thousands of miles tall. After turning into a gold-armored ancient god, Lu Ming began to change. The golden scales on his body began to fall off until there was not a single piece left. After the scales fell off, his body began to wriggle. It became longer and thinner. Nestle, what's going on? Why is my body transforming into a divine dragon? Lu Ming was shocked. He had cultivated the ancient god body. Even if he broke through to the next level, it should be related to the ancient god body. His form should also be that of an ancient god. However, his current form was rapidly transforming into a divine dragon. Could it be related to the previous changes? And that drop of primordial divine spirit blood? Lu Ming's mind raced. That drop of primordial divine spirit blood should be related to the divine dragon. It was not difficult to see that there was a small divine dragon in the blood. Also, the mountain was full of dragon beasts. The dragon beast's blood had gathered to form a drop of primordial divine spirit blood. It was very likely that this drop of primordial divine spirit blood came from the primordial divine dragon. The primordial divine dragon was the ancestor of all divine dragons. It was born from heaven and earth. However, ordinary people who obtained the primordial divine spirit blood would erase some of the primordial divine spirit blood, leaving only pure energy. Then, they would absorb and refine this energy for their own use. Finally, they would condense their own primordial divine spirit blood. However, Lu Ming encountered a big problem during this process. It led to a series of uncontrollable changes. In addition, his 9 dragons' blood essence had merged with the primordial divine spirit blood, causing his primordial divine spirit body to change dramatically. It was transforming into a divine dragon. This process was very slow. As time passed, about half a month had passed. Lu Ming's body had completely transformed into a divine dragon. It was a divine dragon with 9 dragon claws. It was incomparably huge and covered in a layer of dragon scales. At the same time, Lu Ming felt that his body was filled with an explosive power that was much stronger than the 9th transformation of the ancient god body. He had broken through. Lu Ming understood that he had already broken through to the next level of the primordial divine body, surpassing the primordial divine body 9th transformation. Moreover, Lu Ming's cultivation base had also broken through to the 8th sky of King God realm. He didn't know if it was because the original god spirit's blood had abundant energy or something else. His strength skyrocketed. Where is my primordial divine blood? Why didn't I see him? Lu Ming was a little confused. He scanned his body with his inner consciousness, but he did not find any primordial divine blood. Let's transform into human form first. With a thought, Lu Ming's body quickly shrank and turned into a human. After transforming into human form, Lu Ming discovered that there was a drop of blood in his heart. It was extremely resplendent. As long as he activated it, the roar of a dragon could be heard. It was filled with an ancient and desolate aura that changed Lu Ming's temperament. My ancient god heart has also changed. Lu Ming discovered that his ancient god heart had also changed greatly. It was as though it had become the heart of a divine dragon. What a complete change! Lu Ming smiled bitterly. After this change, his divine body had changed completely. It was no longer related to the ancient god body. Instead, it was related to the divine dragon body. Dragons and I are really fated. Lu Ming laughed at himself. The reason for such a huge change was mainly because of the problem with the ancient god technique and the 9 dragon blood essence in his body. Of course, it was also related to the drop of primordial divine blood. All these coincidences had led to such a change. So be it. As long as I'm strong, it doesn't matter. Lu Ming smiled. Ancient gods and primordial divine dragons were both primordial divine spirits. It did not matter what form they cultivated into as long as they could obtain great power. Let's give it a try. With a thought, Lu Ming activated the drop of primordial divine blood. The primordial divine blood immediately spread out and mixed with Lu Ming's blood. It spread to his limbs and bones. At this moment, Lu Ming's body exuded an ancient and desolate aura. A layer of blood qi permeated the air. At this moment, Lu Ming had a feeling that he could transform into a huge divine dragon or not. He could control it. With a dragon's roar, Lu Ming transformed into a huge divine dragon and rapidly grew. He became 10,000 meters long, 100,000 meters long, 1,000,000 meters long. Lu Ming even felt that he could grow bigger. He could control its size. Very soon, it became 10 million meters long. Then, with a thought, Lu Ming shrank rapidly. In the end, he became a divine dragon that was 10 meters long. There were 9 dragon claws on his abdomen. Could it be that the primordial divine dragon also has 9 dragon claws? Lu Ming pondered. His current state should be the primordial divine dragon and not the 9-clawed dragon. Then, Lu Ming's body changed again. He turned into a human. Boom! Lu Ming threw a punch. A huge explosion occurred in the void. It was extremely shocking. Transforming into a human and dragon form is slightly weaker, but it's more flexible. I just need to activate the primordial divine blood. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Breaking through to the 9th transformation and entering a new level, not only did his strength soar, but he could also control his form freely. It was too convenient. In the past, when he transformed into an ancient god, he had to become extremely huge. Especially the 9th transformation, he could reach a height of 1,000,000 meters. If he was in the universe, it would be fine. If he was fighting in a narrow space, he would not be able to use it. In the past, the primordial divine spirits were even more terrifying. However, Lu Ming speculated that the primordial divine spirits should be able to control their size at will. With a thought, he kept the primordial divine blood. The primordial divine blood turned back into a drop of blood and entered his heart. This is convenient. It can be my trump card in the future. Lu Ming smiled. It said that the cultivation of the primordial divine body is to condense primordial divine blood. Now it's just a drop of primordial divine blood. In the future, I can condense 2, 3, 4, or even more. In the end, when all the blood in my body has turned into primordial divine blood, I will be no different from a real primordial divine spirit. I will have the power to destroy the world. Lu Ming pondered. However, he was still too far away from that. How many drops of blood were there in a human body? It was too difficult to turn all of them into primordial divine blood. This trip is considered a success. It's time to go out. How do I go out? Do I have to go back the way I came? Lu Ming muttered. However, the next moment he saw a vortex floating above his head. This is the exit. Have the others already gone out? Lu Ming muttered and then dashed into the whirlpool. Chapter 3461. After Lu Ming entered the whirlpool, he soon appeared in a valley. I'm out. I've left the main peak. Lu Ming soared into the sky and looked around. He found that he was still on the 14th mountain, but he had left the main peak. Lu Ming was relieved. As long as he left the main peak, he would be safe. The maze in the main peak scared him. Then, Lu Ming flew out of the mountain. Soon, Lu Ming arrived at the edge of the famous mountain. So many people. When he arrived at the edge of the 14th mountain, Lu Ming found that there were many people outside the mountain. They formed an arc and surrounded the area. He's out. Lu Ming is out. Suddenly, there was a loud shout from outside. All of a sudden, countless pairs of eyes looked toward Lu Ming. It's so lively. Seems like everyone knows that I have the primordial divine blood. Lu Ming muttered. Looking at the situation, Lu Ming could guess what was going on. Murong Qiushui must have spread the news that he had obtained the primordial divine blood. However, Lu Ming was not worried at all. Not only had his primordial divine body reached a new level, but he had also condensed a drop of primordial divine blood. His cultivation had also reached the 8th layer of the Divine King realm. His combat strength had increased by several times. What was there to be afraid of? Lu Ming looked calm. He stepped out and left the 14th mountain. Buzz. When Lu Ming left the 14th mountain, the area around the mountain shook. The space distorted and the 14th mountain became faintly discernible. The 14th mountain was sealed again. No one knew how long it would be before it opened again. Lu Ming, I heard that you have the primordial divine blood. A young man with a cold face spoke first. He stepped out and closed in on Lu Ming. Seeing that the young man had spoken, the others did not move. This young man was the master of a famous mountain. He was ranked 7th on the Divine King list. His name was Lan Wei. In fact, although there were many people there, most of them were just there to watch the show. They knew that the primordial divine blood had nothing to do with them. Putting aside the fact that the top 10 on the Divine King list were all eyeing him covetously, Lu Ming himself had defeated Dongfang Ke and was able to compete with the top 10 geniuses. Who would dare to challenge him? That's right, I'm the one who got the primordial divine spirit's blood. Lu Ming didn't deny it. Lu Ming's words were out of everyone's expectations. Originally, everyone thought that Lu Ming would lie. They didn't expect that Lu Ming would directly admit it. So the primordial blood is really on you. Good, very good. Hand him over. Lan Wei said, revealing a greedy expression. I took it out and refined it. Lu Ming said. What? You refined it? Impossible. How could the primordial divine blood be refined in just half a month? You're lying. Lan Wei roared. He thought that Lu Ming was spouting nonsense. Believe it or not. Lu Ming said calmly. If you don't hand it over, I'll take it myself. Lan Wei yelled and unleashed his primordial divine body. He transformed into a giant beast that was 1,000,000 meters tall and charged toward Lu Ming with a furious roar. At this moment, Murong Qiushue, Feng Qingxue and the others had arrived and were watching the fight from the side. You're courting death. Lu Ming shouted and the overbearing god spear appeared. He swung the spear and the overbearing god spear became 1,000,000 meters long. It swept toward Lan Wei. With a violent explosion, Lan Wei's body shook violently and he was forced to retreat. What shocking strength! Many people were shocked. How could Lu Ming be so strong when Lan Wei was forced to retreat? No one had seen Lu Ming kill Dongfang Ke and Dongfang Tianke on the 14 mountains. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so surprised. Blade of Skynet, kill! Lan Wei roared and unleashed all his strength. He released the primordial secret technique and charged at Lu Ming. To be honest, Lan Wei was very strong. He was ranked 7th on the Divine King list and was as strong as Dongfang Tian. If it was before Lu Ming's breakthrough, it wouldn't be easy to kill Lan Wei. He would have to use all the power of the overbearing god spear. But now, Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the 8th level, so he didn't need to use all the power. Boom! Lu Ming circulated all his divine power and activated the battle secret art to increase his combat strength by 5 times. The overbearing god spear pressed forward. Clang! Lan Wei's primordial secret technique was sent flying. The giant overbearing god spear hit Lan Wei again. Lan Wei's body shook violently and he coughed up blood. He was severely injured. Then, with a thought, Lu Ming condensed the void-breaking sword and the heavenly fiend blade and charged toward Lan Wei. Lan Wei quickly used all his remaining strength to resist, but Lu Ming had already arrived. A dazzling spear radiance stabbed at Lan Wei. There was a sound, accompanied by a terrifying roar. Lan Wei was pierced by the spear gleam and pinned to the ground. His body shrunk rapidly and he transformed into a human. He widened his eyes and stared at Lu Ming in disbelief. At the same time, his life force was rapidly dissipating. Lan Wei stared at Lu Ming and blood kept spurting out of his mouth. He couldn't believe that he was defeated so easily. He was completely defeated in just a few moves. In the next moment, his life force was gone and he was no longer breathing. Lu Ming waved his hand and kept Lan Wei's storage ring. Lu Ming wouldn't let go of the storage ring of a mountain lord. Gasps could be heard coming from all directions. They stared with their eyes wide open, unable to believe what they were seeing. Lan Wei, who was ranked 7th on the Divine King list, was killed just like that? It was unreal. The other top heavenly legends, such as the masters of other famous mountains, looked even worse. Especially the mountain lords who were ranked 4th and lower. They looked extremely serious. If Lu Ming could kill Lan Wei, they would be in danger even if they were to fight him. Only the top 3 on the God King list would be able to put up a fight against him. Amazing! It seems like you have a fortuitous encounter in the 14th mountain. You have broken through 1 level and reached the 8th Divine King realm. A cold and sinister voice was heard. At the same time, a figure slowly walked toward Lu Ming. The sinister and cold aura caused the temperature of the scene to drop rapidly. Feng Wuxia is going to attack. Someone whispered. Feng Wuxia was the mountain lord of the 6 Min mountain. He was ranked 3rd on the Divine King list, second only to Murong Qiushue and Feng Qingxue. You are going to attack too? Lu Ming looked at Feng Wuxia. If you hand over the primordial divine spirit blood, I won't attack you. Feng Wuxia said. I told you that I had refined it, but you didn't believe me. Fine, attack me. If you want to die, I will send you on your way. Lu Ming said coldly. How arrogant. Don't think that you can be so arrogant just because you have broken through. Don't forget that your cultivation is 1 level lower than mine. Come out, realmless ghost king. Feng Wuxia roared. His body quickly enlarged and turned into a giant zombie. Lu Ming ate it. It was really a zombie. Feng Wuqi's primordial divine body was a zombie. Chapter 3462. The primitive divine body evolved from the primitive divine spirit, and the primitive divine spirit was born from nature. Could nature give birth to zombies? How was that possible? Weren't zombies formed from the death of an elite? Lu Ming was shocked. After Feng Wuqi transformed into the primitive divine body, a ghost king appeared beside him. It was huge and filled with a chilling aura. That was Feng Wuqi's primitive secret technique, the Void Ghost King. Kill! Feng Wuqi roared. Together with the realmless Ghost King, they charged toward Lu Ming from both sides. Lu Ming shook the Overlord Spear and turned it into two spear radiances that pierced towards Feng Wuqi and the Void Ghost King. Two consecutive explosions were heard as Feng Wuqi and the Void Ghost King were forced to retreat. That's all you got. I heard that your origin secret technique has already severed one shackle. Use it or you're no match for me. Lu Ming said. He was curious and wanted to see how powerful other people's origin secret techniques were after they severed their shackles. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Feng Wuqi roared. The Void Ghost King roared and charged towards Feng Wuqi. It merged with Feng Wuqi and a terrifying aura burst out, causing the void to tremble violently. Retreat. Such terrifying pressure. Is this the power of the origin secret technique after it severed one's shackle? Many people were shocked and retreated. Lu Ming died. Feng Wuqi roared and his million-meter-tall body pounced towards Lu Ming. His fingernails were extremely long and they were like sabers as he grabbed at Lu Ming. Compared to his size, Lu Ming was just a tiny. However, Lu Ming did not lose in terms of aura. The Overlord's spear soared into the sky and turned into a huge spear as it struck out. Boom! The two of them clashed and the world shook violently. The void was swept up by the terrifying shockwaves and turned into a mess. The Tyrant God's spear vibrated non-stop. Lu Ming's body trembled slightly as he took a few steps back. What astonishing strength! Severing one shackle and not severing it are indeed two different levels. Lu Ming exclaimed inwardly. Feng Wuqi was much more powerful than Dongfang Tianke and Lan Wei. It wouldn't be too difficult for him to kill them. Lu Ming estimated that Feng Wuqi's ability could probably kill an ordinary first-level divine lord. One must know that the gap between a god king and a god monarch was simply too huge. Only a very small number of monstrous geniuses could fight a divine lord at the divine king realm. It was obvious that Feng Wuqi was such a person. In fact, people like Dongfang Tianke and Lan Wei could fight against ordinary first-layer divine monarchs. They might not win, but they might not lose either. After Feng Wuqi defeated Lu Ming with one move, he launched a torrential attack to kill Lu Ming. Why hasn't Lu Ming used his primordial divine body? Otherwise, he won't be able to defeat him. I don't know what he's planning. But he's really powerful. He hasn't even used his primordial divine body and he can already fight Feng Wuqi to this extent. It's terrifying. If he breaks through to the peak divine king realm, Murong Qiushui's throne will be in danger. Isn't that so? Many people were discussing softly. Gate of Domination, Void-Shattering Sword. Lu Ming condensed several secret techniques of origin and attacked Feng Wuqi. However, Feng Wuqi's strength was indeed shocking in such a state. His body was indestructible and he had boundless strength. He sent the Gate of Domination flying with one move. After a few moves, the Void-Shattering Sword and Heavenly Demon Blade were also sent flying. Ancient Cultivation Technique, mastering many secret techniques of origin. What's the use of having many but not mastering them? It's better to specialize in one. Feng Wuqi shouted coldly with a strong sense of mockery. His attacks became even more violent. Lu Ming blocked with the overbearing God Spear. After a dozen moves, Lu Ming's body trembled and he was pushed back 1,000 miles. Isn't it just cutting off one of the shackles of the secret technique of origin? Do you think you're the only one who succeeded? Lu Ming's cold voice rang out. Then, a terrifying aura exploded from the overbearing God Spear. It was shocking and the dazzling spear light seemed like it was going to pierce through the sky. Everyone's expression changed. It was a spectacular sight. The secret technique of origin has cut off the shackles. His secret technique of origin has also cut off the shackles. How is it possible? How did he cultivate it? Many people shouted. Some people who knew the situation knew that Lu Ming had only been here for less than 200 years. They found it unbelievable and their self-esteem was severely damaged. Feng Wuqi's expression also changed. He had a look of disbelief. Alliance Master, the people who were most shocked were the people from the Dragon Alliance, especially those who had followed Lu Ming for a long time. For example, Tian Xing and Shui Chu. They had followed Lu Ming from Breeze Mountain. When they first met Lu Ming could only compete with them. But now, in just a few years, Lu Ming could compete with the world's top geniuses. Every once in a while, when they saw Lu Ming again, Lu Ming's ability would soar by a large margin. This kind of improvement speed was shocking. "Let me beat you up." Lu Ming roared and stepped forward. He waved the overbearing god spear and smashed it towards Feng Wuqi with a terrifying aura. Feng Wuqi roared. He was like a primordial divine zombie that had come back to life. His body emitted a thick corpse aura as he charged towards Lu Ming. Don't. In an instant, the two of them had exchanged 18 blows. Feng Wuqi's body shook violently and he retreated as if he had been electrocuted. 3 of his fingers, which were comparable to a monarch-grade divine artifact, were broken. Swoosh. After defeating Feng Wuqi, Lu Ming did not stop moving. He thrust his spear forward and a dazzling spear radiance pierced Feng Wuqi's chest at a shocking speed. Feng Wuqi screamed in pain. A large hole had appeared in his indestructible chest. He retreated and blood spurted from his mouth. "I'll send you on your way." Lu Ming held his spear and stepped forward. He wanted to kill Feng Wuqi once and for all. At that moment, Lu Ming had activated the power of the overbearing god spear. His strength was completely above Feng Wuqi's. At that moment, Lu Ming's face changed. The Wind Destroyer boots had appeared under his feet. His body flashed and he left the spot. As soon as Lu Ming left, a blade radiance flashed past where Lu Ming had been standing. Lu Ming appeared 1,000 meters away. His face was cold as he stared in a direction and muttered, "Murong Qiu Shui." That's right. It was Murong Qiu Shui who had attacked Lu Ming with a flying dagger. If it wasn't for Lu Ming's sharp senses, he would have been hit. This is the number 1 genius on the Divine King list? A sneak attack, huh? Lu Ming gave a mocking laugh. Murong Qiu Shui's face was calm and he did not care. He looked around and said in a loud voice, "Everyone, I suggest that we work together to kill Lu Ming. What do you think?" Murong Qiu Shui's words made many people's eyes sparkle, especially those mountain masters. Chapter 3463. The leaders of the famous mountains were all tempted by the offer. Lu Ming was too strong. He could even suppress Feng Wuqi. If they were alone, other than Murong Qiu Shui, there was no one else that was Lu Ming's match. If they went up one by one, the result was already decided. But with all of them attacking together, it wouldn't be a problem to take down Lu Ming. Even if the primordial divine blood hasn't been refined by me, with so many of you attacking, how will you split it? Even if you steal it, it will still fall into Murong Qiu Shui's hands. You're just wasting your strength and being used by Murong Qiu Shui. Lu Ming said with a faint smile. Once these words were said, the faces of the mountain lords changed again. Lu Ming was right. Lu Ming's strength was abnormal, but wasn't Murong Qiu Shui the same? Even if they obtained the primordial divine blood, would they be able to compete with Murong Qiu Shui? In the end, it would be Murong Qiu Shui's wedding dress. Everyone's eyes sparkled and for a while, no one made a move. Murong Qiu Shui's face sunk and his killing intent towards Lu Ming became stronger. He said in a cold voice, "Everyone, I can swear that after killing Lu Ming, I won't take the primordial divine blood. You can deal with the primordial divine blood, I just want his life." Murong Qiu Shui, is this true? Someone was moved. "I can swear on my life source," Murong Qiu Shui said. Although the primordial divine blood was precious, compared to the life soul source stone fragments, he could give it up. According to what the life soul source stone fragments said, Once all the fragments were gathered and formed into a complete life soul source stone, one could become the overlord of the universe. The overlord of the universe, what kind of existence was that? It was truly immortal and could coexist with the universe. How many years had the universe existed? How many lives had been born and how many peerless geniuses had been born? No one could say for sure. But after countless years, with countless shocking talents, how many people could become the overlord of the universe? On the list of the universe's 10,000 races, the only ones that could be called overlords were the rulers of the top 10 races. Of course, the giants of the heavenly palace were another matter. It was not hard to imagine what kind of existence a universe overlord was. He was someone who could make the universe tremble with a stomp of his feet. Although the primordial divine spirit blood was precious and could help people condense the primordial divine blood, Murong Qiushui was very confident in his innate talent. He believed that even if he didn't have the primordial divine spirit blood, he would still be able to condense the primordial divine blood. It would just take a bit more time. Alright, it's settled then. Attack! Immediately, a few famous mountain lords took action. They transformed into their primordial divine bodies and launched a terrifying attack at Lu Ming. Clang! Lu Ming sent Murong Qiushui's 3 flying daggers flying with a single move, and the attacks of the mountain lords arrived. Lu Ming's divine power circulated madly, and the other origin source secret techniques emerged. The moon of the moon and the sun of the sun blasted towards a mountain chieftain who looked like a lion, blocking his path. Furthermore, the gate of the sovereign and the void-shattering swords had both been blocked by one of the mountain lords. "Kid, die for me!" Feng Wuxia roared angrily. His huge body charged toward Lu Ming. He was extremely powerful. Every attack shook the void. His palm, which was glowing with a metallic light and was larger than a mountain, slapped toward Lu Ming. On the other side, Murong Qiushui controlled 9 flying daggers and flew towards Lu Ming. Each flying dagger could kill a top expert. Each flying dagger could create a fatal crisis for a divine lord realm powerhouse. Heavenly Snow Sword. At the same time, another top genius attacked. Feng Qingshua's body was filled with a bone-chilling cold. She held a snow-white sword in her hand and the sword radiance shot up into the sky. Then she slashed down at Lu Ming. Feng Qingshua's origin source secret technique had also severed one shackle. She was definitely not weaker than Feng Wuxia and might even be stronger. Otherwise, she wouldn't be ranked higher than Feng Wuxia. Other than Lu Ming, there were originally 11 mountain lords. Since Lu Ming had killed 3 of them, there were still 8 left. At this moment, almost all of the 8 mountain lords had attacked. With so many top experts attacking at the same time, even a normal divine lord would be killed in an instant. Lu Ming stepped on the wind destroyer boots and coupled with the 9 heavens Kunpeng technique, he flashed rapidly and dodged the attacks. At the same time, he used the Tianxian shield and the Dominator's Gate to protect his body. The tyrannical god's spear continued to attack and blocked a portion of the attacks. However, Lu Ming was still sent flying and crashed into a flaming mountain. However, that was only the first wave of attacks. After a moment, the second wave of attacks arrived. Lu Ming is finished. Many people thought. Despicable. So many mountain lords are attacking the leader alone. Despicable. Many people from the Dragon Alliance shouted in their hearts. However, they could only watch helplessly. With their cultivation, they couldn't interfere in a battle of this level. Even someone like Bo Yi was the same. The difference was too big. But at this moment, rays of light flew over from the distance. These rays of light were like divine blades, shattering the void. They had a terrifying might as they attacked Murong Qiushui's group. Murong Qiushui's group's expressions changed. They could only stop attacking Lu Ming and change directions to block these rays of light. A series of explosions rang out as the multicolored light was blocked. However, a few of the weaker mountain lords were forced to retreat continuously from the impact. Who is it? Murong Qiushui roared out as he looked in a certain direction with a cold expression. In that direction, a figure was flying over. Lan Shu. Lu Ming called out in pleasant surprise. The person who came was Blue Merchant. Lu Ming, are you all right? Blue Merchant looked at Lu Ming with a bit of worry. I'm fine. Lan Shu, your cultivation. Lu Ming carefully looked over Blue Merchant and couldn't help opening his eyes wide in shock. Blue Merchant's cultivation naturally hadn't recovered. What had changed was his soul strength. Blue Merchant's body was surrounded by rings of light. These rings of light were formed from his soul strength. The most shocking thing was that Lu Ming could feel that the strength of Blue Merchant's soul strength had already broken through the limit. It was completely equal to the Divine Monarch realm. Blue Merchant's soul strength was already extremely strong in the past, far surpassing others. Even a peak Divine Monarch realm expert's soul strength couldn't compare to Blue Merchant's. This was because Blue Merchant's peak cultivation was at the peak Divine Monarch realm. But at that time, Blue Merchant's soul strength was only at the peak Divine King realm. With just his soul strength, he could fight a peak Divine King and even crush them. And now, Blue Merchant's soul strength was equal to the Divine Monarch realm. Lu Ming had never heard of such a strong soul strength before. Using soul strength to enter the Divine Monarch realm? This was an inconceivable matter. It seemed that Blue Merchant really had a fortuitous encounter during this time. What a strong soul strength. It's equal to the Divine Monarch realm's soul strength. When Feng Qingxue and the others saw Lan Shang, they were also shocked. They all came from big forces, but they had never seen someone with such a strong soul power without any cultivation. It was something they had never seen before. Chapter 3464. Lu Ming, leave them to me. Blue Merchant spoke as the halos around him became even more dazzling. These halos turned into divine blades and floated around Blue Merchant, aiming at the geniuses. Humph, isn't he just a monarch god? Just kill him. Feng Wuxia shouted coldly, his killing intent thick. With their strength, why would they be afraid of a monarch god? Moreover, Blue Merchant had only become a monarch god with his soul. How strong could he be? Feng Wuxia made his move. He stepped into the void and charged at Blue Merchant. He slapped out his palm and suppressed Blue Merchant. Feng Wuxia was 1,000,000 meters tall and Blue Merchant was like a speck of dust in front of him. However, a halo lit up on Lan Shang's body and illuminated the area. It was like a divine blade that slashed towards Feng Wuxia. With a boom, the two attacks collided. Feng Wuxi's body shook violently and he retreated continuously. Then, Blue Merchant stepped forward. Multicolored light filled the air and enveloped the 8 mountain masters. Lan Shu, leave that guy to me. Lu Ming pointed at Murong Qiu and said to Blue Merchant, this guy is very strong. You have to be careful. Lan Shang sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Then rays of light burst forth and charged toward Feng Wuxia and the rest, shrouding Feng Wuxia, Feng Qingxue, and the rest of the 7 powerful figures. Rays of light shrouded these people. Lu Ming stepped forward and charged at Murong Qiu. Murong Qiu, there are only 2 of us now. Let's fight. Lu Ming pointed the Overlord God spear at Murong Qiu. Do you think that I won't be able to take you down by myself? That's good. This way, your primordial divine blood will be mine. Murong Qiu gave a cold smile. Even when Blue Merchant appeared and blocked the others, his face was still calm and filled with confidence. Then let me see what you're capable of. Lu Ming stepped through the air and his body turned into a phantom as he charged at Murong Qiu. The tyrant god's spear trembled and a bright spear glow pierced out at Murong Qiu. Everyone's hearts raced. Lu Ming was going to fight Murong Qiu. Who was stronger? Was there going to be a change in the number 1 on the God King list today? Explode! Murong Qiu angrily roared and the 9 flying daggers beside him began to violently tremble. Then they exploded with a shocking aura as the daggers glowed. This was the power of severing the shackles. Kill! Nu Rong Qiu shouted. The 9 flying daggers turned into 9 graceful flashes and flew towards Lu Ming at an extremely fast speed. However, Lu Ming was already prepared. His spiritual sense locked onto the 9 flying daggers, and the tyrant god's spear burst forth. Clang, clang, clang. The tip of the spear collided with the 9 flying daggers, creating a shocking explosion. Then, the 9 flying daggers were sent flying. However, as soon as the 9 flying daggers were sent flying, they changed their direction and continued to charge toward Lu Ming. They were unpredictable and powerful. However, Lu Ming was no longer the same as before. The tyrant god's spear kept thrusting out, and each time, it accurately sent the 9 flying daggers flying. At the same time, he kept approaching Murong Qiushui. In the end, Lu Ming pressed down with his spear. The giant spear glow pressed down on Murong Qiushui and completely locked onto him. Murong Qiushui's face changed. Thousands of streams of water surrounded his body and formed a heavy shield around him. At the same time, he controlled the 9 flying daggers to attack Lu Ming. Origin's secret techniques kept appearing on Lu Ming's body. He used all of his Origin's secret techniques to block all of the flying daggers. When the tyrant god's spear pressed down, all of Murong Qiushui's attacks were shattered and exploded. With a hong sound, the tyrant god's spear pressed down. Murong Qiushui's body wildly trembled and he was sent flying like a cannonball. This is your full strength? What trump cards do you have? Use them all. Lu Ming's voice rang out. Although Murong Qiushui's current strength was strong, it was only because of the mysteries of the flying daggers. At most, he was only a bit stronger than Feng Wuqi. The number 1 on the God King list, an invincible existence, only had this bit of strength? Good. How many years has it been? No one has forced me to use my full strength. Lu Ming, you are the first one. Murong Qiushui roared out and his eyes flashed with a fierce light. Then with an explosive roar, his body erupted like a volcano, releasing an even more shocking aura. Your aura has doubled. This is a secret technique. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He guessed that Murong Qiushui should have mastered a secret technique similar to the battle word art, which could double his strength. Murong Qiushui was already very strong. With his strength doubled, his battle strength would naturally be even more shocking. Wang, the 9 flying daggers floated beside Murong Qiushui. They kept vibrating because of the large amount of power injected into them. Die for me! Murong Qiushui roared. The 9 flying daggers turned into 9 dazzling rays of light and charged at Lu Ming with shocking speed. The power this time was even more shocking than before. It was twice as strong. Come! Lu Ming shook the tyrant god's spear and dazzling spear lights shot out. Each spear light stabbed at a flying dagger. A series of terrifying tremors erupted as a huge explosion occurred in this area. Each collision was like a ball exploding. The shockwaves spread in all directions. If it was outside, it would definitely destroy the world. Such power. I'm afraid it's not as simple as doubling my strength. The continuous collisions made Lu Ming's hand feel a bit numb. Lu Ming gave a sigh. The secret technique Murong Qiushui cultivated was not small. Although it could not compare to the battle word art, it still increased his strength by 3-4 times. This was definitely a rare secret technique. Murong Qiushui, he really was worthy of being a heaven's pride chosen by the Fate Spirit Source Stone. He was too strong and his strength was truly shocking. Of all the heaven's pride Lu Ming had met, other than the unfathomable Di Jianyi, there was no one at the same level that could be Murong Qiushui's match. The universe was too big and there were countless races. It was unknown how many heaven's pride there were. Although Lu Ming was a monster, that didn't mean there wasn't someone even more monstrous than Lu Ming. For example, there might be geniuses who had mastered some heaven-defying divine skills and secret skills. There might even be geniuses who had mastered a few origin ancient characters. When meeting this kind of person, wanting to fight across several realms was not realistic. Facing Murong Qiushui, Lu Ming's cultivation was 1 realm lower. Moreover, without using his primordial body, Lu Ming was not his match. Then come. With a thought from Lu Ming, the drop of primordial god's blood in his heart began to move. It turned into thousands of blood qi and entered Lu Ming's countless blood lights before entering his body. From Lu Ming's body, there was a faint dragon's roar. At this moment, Lu Ming felt his body filled with explosive strength. Lu Ming activated the primordial god's blood, but he did not turn into a divine dragon. He still maintained his human form. Following that, his spear swept out. A giant spear light swept out in all directions and hit the 9 flying daggers. Chapter 3465. The Overlord God's spear hit the 9 flying daggers, and the 9 flying daggers shook violently. They were sent flying and almost shattered. In the distance, Murong Qiushui's expression wildly changed. His body trembled and he retreated. His face was pale and blood came out of the corner of his mouth. The shock from the origin source secret technique was too strong. Even he himself was affected by it and suffered some injuries. Why is his strength so strong? Murong Qiushui was incomparably shocked and his eyes were filled with shock. How could Lu Ming's strength suddenly explode with such power? It completely suppressed him. Didn't I say that I have already refined the primordial divine blood? Lu Ming lightly said. You really refined the primordial divine blood? Damn! Murong Qiushui angrily roared. His heart was filled with shock. Lu Ming could actually refine the primordial divine blood in half a month. He did not doubt it at all because Lu Ming's strength was too shocking. His body did not become bigger, but his strength increased by a lot. This could only be done by refining the primordial divine blood and entering a new realm with the primordial divine body. Murong Qiushui's face was filled with jealousy. How long had he been in this world? After all these years of hard work, he had finally reached the peak and became the #1 expert on the God King list. But after all these years, he had not cultivated the primordial divine body to the next level and refined the primordial divine blood. But Lu Ming had done it. He was about to go crazy with jealousy. Hearing the conversation between Lu Ming and Murong Qiushui, the others were incomparably shocked. Lu Ming, so what if you refine the primordial divine blood? If I kill them, extract their blood, and refine them, I will still be able to take that step. Murong Qiushui's face was incomparably fierce as he roared, 9 daggers as one man as one, cut through everything, kill. Shwa, shwa, Murong Qiushui's 9 flying daggers gathered together and became a flying dagger. At this moment, Murong Qiushui's body shrunk and flew into the flying dagger. He fused with the flying dagger and turned into a flying dagger. This flying knife emitted an earth-shattering blade light. Just the overflowing blade light alone was enough to cause the void to tremble and ferocious cracks to appear. Then, the flying knife shot toward Lu Ming. Are you finally going all out? Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. The energy in his body wildly surged into the tyrant god's spear. Then, Lu Ming became one with his spear, turning into a spear glow that stabbed at Murong Qiushui. At this moment, many people found it hard to breathe as they stared at this attack. The battle between Blue Merchant and Feng Wuxi and the others also stopped. At that moment, Feng Wuxi and the others were in a sorry state. They were covered in wounds and blood. Even with so many of them working together, they were still no match for Blue Merchant. They were forced together and could only resist with all their might. They no longer had the strength to fight back. At this time, Blue Merchant stopped and did not attack. He just looked at Lu Ming and Murong Qiushui. Only then did Feng Wuxi and the others have a chance to catch their breath. Under the gazes of countless people, a long spear and a throwing knife met in the air. The void violently shook. At the place where the long spear and the throwing knife met, there was an incomparably dazzling light that was even brighter than the sun. It was as if 2 stars had collided and exploded. The terrifying force turned into waves that could be seen with the naked eye and swept out in all directions. Retreat, retreat. The people watching the battle all retreated again and again, because this kind of collision was too terrifying. It had already surpassed the limits of the Divine King realm and entered another level. It could be considered a battle of the Divine King realm. In the instant that the two collided, the flying dagger started to violently vibrate. The crowd was able to see cracks appearing on the flying dagger. Furthermore, the number of cracks on the flying dagger was rapidly increasing. Murong Qiushui is about to lose. Many people were wildly shocked. It was clear that Murong Qiushui was at a disadvantage. In the next moment, the throwing knife shattered and a pitiful cry rang out. Then everyone saw a figure fly out at an astonishing speed. This figure was naturally Murong Qiushui. Murong Chiu Shui slammed into a volcano, causing the volcano to shake and almost shatter. Murong Chiu Shui spat out large mouthfuls of blood and his face was pale. There was a large hole in his chest that had been pierced through by the spear glow. Murong Chiu Shui had been heavily injured and his aura was very weak. The long spear in the air flashed and Lu Ming's figure appeared. Lu Ming's aura was calm and his face was cold. That move just now had no effect on him at all. Now that Lu Ming had activated the primordial god's blood, his strength had completely surpassed Murong Chiu Shui's, even if his cultivation was still a layer lower. Murong Chiu Shui has lost. Now send him on his way. Lu Ming coldly said. He walked forward step by step, moving towards Murong Chiu Shui. His ice-cold killing intent continued to fill the air around Murong Chiu Shui. Kill him, haha. Within Lu Ming's body, the life spirit rock spirit broke out in laughter. It was incomparably excited. As long as it killed Murong Chiu Shui and obtained the other side's life spirit source stone fragment, it would be able to swallow the other side's life spirit source stone and strengthen itself. Just thinking about it made it excited. It was becoming more and more satisfied with Lu Ming. He had actually defeated another person with a life spirit source stone fragment like this. This had surpassed its expectations. The life spirit source stone fragment chose a master and it chose a very rare heaven's pride. Even if they weren't unparalleled, they were close. Moreover, they were all people with great luck. It was reasonable to say that they wouldn't be easy to defeat or kill. Lu Ming, you can't kill me. Murong Chiu Shui angrily shouted. Can't kill nonsense. Just kill ha. Lu Ming had not even opened his mouth when the life spirit rock spirit loudly shouted. Of course, no one else could hear it, only Lu Ming could hear it. Can't kill? Lu Ming gave a cold laugh. His ice-cold killing intent represented everything. Indeed, you can't kill him. At this moment, an old voice came from the sky. With a flash of light, an old man appeared in front of Murong Chiu Shui. Sir Enforcer. Murong Chiu Shui was filled with joy. Enforcer. Lu Ming knit his brows. In this world, there were 3 enforcers. This enforcer was not the one Lu Ming knew. Sir Enforcer, do you want to break the rules and interfere in our duel? Lu Ming said. The guardians and the enforcers could not interfere in their duel. We're definitely going to intervene this time. In another direction, another voice came. Lu Ming looked over and saw another old man. This person's clothes were the same as the enforcers. Another enforcer. Lu Ming, you can't kill him. A sigh came from another direction. Lu Ming looked over and his eyes changed. This person was also an enforcer and it was the one Lu Ming had seen before. Chapter 3466. The last law enforcer that appeared was the one that Lu Ming had seen before, the one that had come with the 10,000 gods. He walked over with a helpless look on his face. Lu Ming, I've said it before, you can't kill me. Murong Chiu Shui laughed. Law enforcers, I want to know what is going on? Lu Ming asked with a frown. According to the rules here, the protectors and law enforcers would not interfere in their fights. Even if they died, it would be because their cultivation was too weak. But now, the 3 law enforcers had come out to protect Murong Chiu Shui. Lu Ming was filled with doubts. Lu Ming, I'll tell you. Murong Chiu Shui has already caught the eye of an important person. Once he breaks through to the divine monarch realm, he will be taken in as a disciple. So, we can't kill him. If we kill him, we won't be able to explain it to that important person. The first law enforcer that appeared said, Important person? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. In this world, law enforcers were the strongest. Then who was this important person that they were talking about? Is it that world? Lu Ming suddenly thought of the world that the 10,000 gods wanted to go to. The law enforcers had said that this world was very big. They were only in the periphery and there was an even deeper world. Lu Ming guessed that it was behind the door that he had seen before. The 10,000 gods had gone to that world to cultivate. Whether it was the protectors or the law enforcers, they were only there to temporarily manage this place. The important person that the law enforcers were talking about was most likely the important person of that world. So Murong Chiu Shui already had a backer. Lu Ming frowned. With the 3 law enforcers protecting Murong Qiushui, he could not kill him at all. With his cultivation in front of the law enforcers, he was just an ant. Law enforcers, quickly kill this brat for me. I want this brat to die without a burial ground. Murong Qiushui roared. But the 3 law enforcers did not move. What are you doing? Why aren't you moving? Are you ignoring my words? Murong Qiushui shouted at the 3 law enforcers. That important person said that we would protect you, but we didn't agree to kill you. The first enforcer said. Now, I order all of you to kill him. I tell all of you that I can break through to the Divine Lord realm at any time. At that time, my status will be above all of yours. In this world, who can I not kill? Murong Qiushui loudly shouted with a fierce expression. Murong Qiushui, being able to catch the eye of that important person is because of his innate talent. But don't forget, Lu Ming being able to defeat him is enough to prove that his innate talent is above others. What would happen if the news of his defeat were to spread to the other world? There will definitely be a stronger lord taking him in as a disciple. When that time comes, will my status still be above his? The enforcer who took Wan Shen away said coldly. Murong's face alternated between green and white. His hatred for Lu Ming was monstrous. He hated him to the bone. However, he couldn't refute it. With Lu Ming's talent, she believed that he would soon be taken in as a disciple by an even stronger expert. He might even be stronger than the expert who had taken a fancy to him. Good, very good. Brat, remember this. One day I will personally twist off your head. Murong Qiushui stared at Lu Ming as he spoke in a fierce voice. I understand. Someone who has been defeated is not my match, so you can only talk back. I understand. Clowns are all like this. Lu Ming softly said with a look of disdain. Murong Qiushui was so angry that his body trembled. In the end, he spat out a mouthful of blood. He was truly angry. Lu Ming's expression and tone were just too infuriating. In front of Lu Ming, he had become a clown. Well, wait and see. Murong Qiushui angrily roared before turning into a streak of light and leaving. Aiya, my life soul source stone fragment, aiya. Seeing Murong Qiushui leave, the life soul source stone Shiling cried miserably. Shut up for me, Lu Ming shouted at Shiling with his soul power. This fellow didn't do anything, but it was crying so hard. Shiling immediately closed its mouth. The life soul source stone fragment, I will get it sooner or later. It can't run, Lu Ming said in a low voice. At this moment, Feng Qingxue and the others took the opportunity to leave. They didn't dare to stay, fearing that Lu Ming would find trouble with them. There were only 3 law enforcers left, Lu Ming and Blue Merchant. At this moment, one of the law enforcers looked at Blue Merchant with a look of surprise and said, without a star core, you can reach this level with just your soul power. It's really a miracle. That's right. It's rare in the world. He's a rare genius. Another law enforcer also said. You flatter me. Blue Merchant cupped his fists. However, no matter if you cultivate divine power or soul power, your cultivation has surpassed the divine king realm. You can't stay in this world. Also, you haven't cultivated the primordial divine body, so you can't enter the next level to cultivate. You can only be sent out. The first law enforcer said. These words made Lu Ming and Blue Merchant's expressions change slightly. May I ask the law enforcers, how do you leave? Where do you go after you leave? Lu Ming asked. Back to where you came from, of course. The first law enforcer said. Lu Ming and Blue Merchant's expressions changed again, and they became a little gloomy. Back to where you came from? After Blue Merchant left, wouldn't he return to the barbarian tribe's territory and be in danger again? Law enforcers, can't we go to other places? Lu Ming asked. No, this was set by the big shots in the cryptic world. They must have their reasons, and it can't be changed. The first law enforcer said. Lu Ming's face darkened. He pondered for a moment and said, if you want to send him out, send both of us out. Although Lu Ming couldn't bear to leave this place for the time being, the cultivation environment in Fengyun Mountain was too good. If Lu Ming cultivated here, his divine power of origin and secret techniques of origin would improve rapidly, and it would save a lot of time. However, he couldn't just watch Blue Merchant go out to die and do nothing. Blue Merchant was Jianghu's teacher, and he had done him a great favor along the way. Lu Ming wouldn't abandon Blue Merchant because of his own selfishness. This went against his principles, and he couldn't do it. If they had to leave, they would leave together. If there was danger, they could face it together. No, Lu Ming, you don't have to leave with me. Stay here and cultivate. It won't be too late to leave after you've improved your cultivation. Blue Merchant said hurriedly. Lu Ming was Jianghu's hope to overturn the case, so he couldn't let Lu Ming go out with him. Yes, Lu Ming, your talent is too suitable for this place. When the news of you defeating Murong Qiushui spreads to the cryptic world, there will definitely be a big shot who will accept you as a disciple. Cultivating here is the most suitable place for you. The law enforcer who took Wan Xin away also tried to persuade him. Chapter 3467. The enforcer who took Wan Xin away was also interested in Lu Ming's talent. He hoped that Lu Ming could stay and cultivate here so that he could better unleash his talent. Lu Ming also wanted to stay. The cultivation environment in Fengyun Mountain was really tempting. However, he couldn't let Blue Merchant return to the barbarian territory alone and face danger. If they were to leave, they had to leave together. Lu Ming shook his head and said, "Unless you let Lan Shu stay as well, I'll leave with Lan Shu." Lu Ming's face was resolute and unquestionable. Blue Merchant sighed. He had known Lu Ming for so long and understood Lu Ming too well. Once Lu Ming made a decision, he wouldn't change it. If that's the case, let's leave together. Another enforcer said. Although he admired Lu Ming, he wouldn't stop Lu Ming if he insisted on leaving. Fellow enforcers, before Lu Ming leaves, he wants to do something. I hope you won't stop him. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, "What do you want to do?" One of the enforcers asked. "You should have seen how many people joined hands to deal with me. If I don't get back at them, I won't feel good." Lu Ming said. The enforcers frowned. It was obvious that Lu Ming wanted to kill his way to the other famed mountains and find trouble with the mountain lords. However, this was equivalent to one famed mountain attacking another. It wasn't allowed. "Alright, we agree. However, there's a condition. You have to go alone and not kill anyone." The enforcer who took Wan Xin away said. "Alright." Lu Ming nodded. "Alright, go then. Come back here 7 days later and we'll send you out. Also, we'll inform the guardians. We won't stop you." The enforcer said. "Thank you." Lu Ming cupped his fists. With a flash, he left the place. Six Min Mountain was extremely magnificent. It soared through the clouds and covered a large area. There were even more experts here than Fengyun Mountain. At this moment, many people were discussing. Lu Ming is really powerful. Even Murong Qiushui is no match for him. Looks like there's going to be a change in the God King list. The first place is Lu Ming. I heard that Lu Ming has only been here for a few hundred years. This record is really amazing. I don't think anyone will be able to break it for a long time. This time, the Mountain Lord of the Mountain has attacked Lu Ming could be killed. I don't know if Lu Ming will come looking for trouble. The Mountain Master is hiding in the famed mountain. That Lu Ming shouldn't dare to come. These people were discussing, but in the next moment, their eyes widened. That was because a figure was walking in the sky from afar. His cold killing intent was not concealed at all, causing the air to seem as if it was about to freeze. Someone exclaimed, "Don't be nervous. He is the Mountain Lord of Fengyun Mountain. He won't dare to kill his way into our 6 Min Mountain. Otherwise, he will be violating the rules." Someone shouted to calm the enforcers down. "Feng Wuxia, get out here." Lu Ming's shout was like rolling thunder, causing the entire 6 Min Mountain to vibrate. In the depths of the 6 Min Mountain, Feng Wuxia was recuperating in seclusion. In the previous battle, he had been injured by Lu Ming and Blue Merchant. His injuries were not light, so he had to take the time to recuperate. Then Lu Ming's voice was heard. "Damn it, Lu Ming." Feng Wuxia opened his eyes and roared angrily. His eyes were filled with murderous intent, but they were also filled with fear. Lu Ming had condensed the primordial divine blood. If he used all his strength, he could definitely kill Feng Wuxia. "Mountain Lord, this is bad. Lu Ming is here. He is shouting outside the mountain and wants to challenge you. Someone came to report. Ignore him. He doesn't dare to come in. He can only roar outside. Feng Wuqi said with a gloomy face. That person left. However, not long after that person left, he ran in again in a panic and shouted, "Mountain Lord, this is bad. Lu Ming is here." He rushed into the Six-Min Mountain and no one can stop him. What? How dare he? He is the Mountain Lord of Fengyun Mountain. It is against the rules to barge in like this. Quick, inform the guardian. Feng Wuqi roared. That person went out immediately. However, after a while, he came back with an even more shocked face. Mountain Lord, this is bad. The guardian is not here. We can't find him. What? Damn it. Feng Wuqi roared. Wasn't the guardian always here? Why wasn't he here now? Feng Wuqi, get out here and fight with me. At this moment, Lu Ming's voice was heard again. This time, Lu Ming was right outside the cave where Feng Wuqi was cultivating in seclusion. Lu Ming had already fought his way here. Damn it, Feng Wuqi roared in his heart. At the same time, he was worried sick. However, since Lu Ming was already at the door, he could only go out. Gritting his teeth, Feng Wuqi got up and walked out of the cave. When he walked out of the cave, he saw Lu Ming standing outside the cave with his hands behind his back. His face was cold. He was surrounded by people from the Six-Min Mountain, but no one dared to make a move. Lu Ming, why are you here at the Six-Min Mountain? Feng Wuqi shouted coldly. Of course I'm here for you. But you ganged up with so many people to deal with me. Are you going to let it go? Lu Ming said coldly. Lu Ming, don't be rash. This is the Six-Min Mountain. You are the Mountain Lord of Fengyun Mountain. According to the rules, you are not allowed to make a move on other famous mountains. Do you understand? Feng Wuqi shouted. Now, he could only use the rules to suppress Lu Ming. I understand. So what? I'm going to make a move. Lu Ming sneered and stepped out. A violent aura shot up to the sky. He grabbed the air with his right hand and the Overlord's spear appeared in his hand. How dare you? Feng Wuqi shouted. Boom. What welcomed him was a dazzling spear radiance that pressed down on him like a mountain. Feng Wuqi shouted and turned into his primordial divine body to resist. However, Lu Ming didn't bother to talk nonsense with him this time. He used all his strength to crush him. After a few breaths, Feng Wuqi was lying on the ground like a dead dog. His body kept twitching and many of his bones were broken. It was a horrible sight. Don't kill me. Feng Wuqi was really scared. He was scared to death and his body kept shaking. He was really afraid that Lu Ming would kill him directly. I'm too lazy to kill you. Hand over your storage ring. Lu Ming walked over and took Feng Wuqi's storage ring under Feng Wuqi's pleading eyes. Then he left without looking back. Arg! Feng Wuqi let out a heart-wrenching scream. The storage ring contained all his wealth. He had been in this world for tens of thousands of years and had accumulated a shocking amount of primordial divine crystals. But now they were all gone. Not a single piece was left for him. He even had the urge to die. After Lu Ming left, he continued to head to another famous mountain without stopping. Chapter 3468. Soon, Lu Ming came to the next famous mountain. Not long after, the owner of this mountain was also beaten to a pulp. His storage ring was also taken away by Lu Ming. In this way, Lu Ming went all the way and visited all the famous mountains. All the owners of the famous mountains were beaten half to death and had their storage rings taken away. It was the same even for a stunning beauty like Feng Qingxue. Lu Ming did not stand on ceremony. He did not have the slightest bit of protective feelings for the fairer sex. He directly attacked and took away the storage ring. All of a sudden, Lu Ming's name shook the world and shocked everyone. He had visited all the famous mountains and taken away all the storage rings of the owners. This had never happened in history. Moreover, none of the guardians stepped forward. Everyone knew that this was tacitly approved by the guardians or the law enforcers. Everyone was even more shocked. There are so many primordial divine gems. It should be enough. Lu Ming was full of smiles. The number of primordial divine gems was astonishing. In total, It was definitely hundreds of millions. Lu Ming was finally in a better mood. Before 7 days were up, Lu Ming returned to the vicinity of the 14th mountain. The 3 law enforcers looked at Lu Ming strangely. In the past few days, they had received the news and knew what Lu Ming had done. This guy is really petty. We can't let him think about us. The 3 law enforcers muttered in their hearts. They could not help but feel a little scared. Lu Ming had infinite potential and would definitely surpass them in the future. If he came here again one day, would he cause trouble for them? At the thought of this, the 3 of them shuddered. Then, they put on smiles and asked about Lu Ming's well-being to express their affection. Lu Ming was speechless. He thought to himself, are these 3 old guys crazy? Lu Ming will see you out. Remember to come back if you have the chance in the future. One of the law enforcers said with a smile. Lu Ming nodded silently. Then he and Blue Merchant followed the 3 law enforcers and left. Not long after, they came to a strange place. Here, the space was constantly distorted, and there were more than a dozen huge vortexes that kept spinning. At a glance, Lu Ming knew that this was a space passage. This world has been set up by a supreme expert. It's very special. You can step into any vortex, but when you came in, your life imprints have been recorded. As long as you step into the vortex and leave this place, you will automatically return to the place where you came from. One of the law enforcers said. I see. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. It was no wonder that they wanted to return to where they came from. Lan Shu, let's go. Lu Ming looked at Blue Merchant. Lu Ming, you. Blue Merchant still wanted to persuade Lu Ming. If they left this place, they would return to the barbarian race's territory. Although it had been more than 100 years since they came in, who knew if the barbarian race was still guarding there? If they were still guarding there, it would be dangerous for them to go out. Lan Shu, let's go. Lu Ming smiled. He naturally knew what Blue Merchant wanted to say. Before Blue Merchant could finish, he had already stepped forward and stepped into a vortex. Blue Merchant sighed helplessly and followed him into that vortex. In a flash, the 2 of them disappeared. The familiar feeling of traveling through the void came again. Not long after, the void trembled, and Lu Ming and Blue Merchant appeared in the starry sky of the universe. We're back. Lu Ming took a deep breath. As soon as they returned, Lu Ming felt that the pressure on his body disappeared without a trace. He felt that his body was full of power, as if he could shatter a star with a punch. But the 2 of them immediately tensed up and looked around. There was no one. There was only a boundless starry sky around them. There were no living creatures and no barbarian race. Did the barbarian race leave? Lu Ming and Blue Merchant were delighted. It was not impossible that the barbarian race had left after so many years. Let's leave this place quickly. How could the 2 of them miss such a good opportunity? They quickly rushed in a certain direction. But in the next moment, a powerful aura spread out in front of them. It pressed down on them from all directions, and the entire starry sky trembled. Not good. Lu Ming's and Lan Shang's expressions changed drastically. They quickly stopped in their tracks. In front of them, the void rippled. Then a burly figure appeared. Barbarian race. A barbarian race powerhouse. The aura on his body was extremely terrifying. Without a doubt, this was a Divine Lord Realm powerhouse. Moreover, he was not an ordinary first-level or second-level Divine Lord figure. The barbarian race people were still there. The 2 of them's hearts started to sink. It's been so many years. I didn't expect that it would be them who came out first. A voice came from behind. Following that, a powerful aura rose up. Lu Ming and Blue Merchant looked back. Several figures also appeared behind them. Each and every one of them had a strong aura. All of them were barbarians. There were more than a dozen barbarians. It looked like they were all Divine Lord Realm barbarians. They were surrounded. More than a dozen barbarians stood in all directions, sealing off all of their escape routes. Looks like we can only go all out. Lu Ming, if there's a chance later, you have to seize the opportunity and escape. After Blue Merchant finished speaking, his glabella suffused with a resplendent brilliance. Following that, rays of divine light emerged on his body, revolving around him. Powerful soul force radiated out. This is soul force. What a powerful soul force. A person without a star core actually has such terrifying soul force. Some barbarians exclaimed. Kill! Blue Merchant gave a cold cry and suddenly rushed in a direction. Divine light was like a heavenly blade, slashing toward the barbarian race in that direction. Making a move against me first, looks like you found the wrong person. This barbarian race person sneered and blasted a punch out. Bang! The void shook violently, being punched through. The terrifying fist force blasted toward Blue Merchant. The divine light that Blue Merchant attacked out directly exploded. You're a 5th level divine lord. Blue Merchant's expression changed wildly. Blue Merchant's cultivation back then was extremely profound, far above 5th level divine lord. Now, his soul force was even more astonishing. He naturally saw through the other party's cultivation realm at a glance. Although his current soul force was equivalent to the divine lord realm, it was at most equivalent to a 1st level divine lord. No matter how profound his soul force was, it was also impossible to be a 5th level divine lord's match. Swoosh! Blue Merchant immediately changed directions, wanting to rush in another direction. But the barbarian race person in that direction smiled malevolently. Grabbing out with a large hand, a huge palm grabbed toward Blue Merchant. This palm covered heaven and earth, boundlessly terrifying. The soul light that Blue Merchant burst forth directly collapsed. The large hand did not stop, continuing to grab toward Blue Merchant. 6th level divine lord. Blue Merchant's expression changed wildly. Then his glabella shone. A fist-sized crystal emerged, emitting a terrifying soul force, wanting to block that large hand. But it was completely useless. A 6th level divine lord existence was seriously too strong. With a grab from the large hand, that crystal trembled and flew back into Blue Merchant's glabella. Chapter 3469. The crystal that flew out from Lan Shang's glabella was very mysterious. It complemented his soul power perfectly. It was very mysterious. However, the difference between his cultivation base and that of the barbarian tribe was too big. The barbarian grabbed the crystal and sent it back into Blue Merchant's forehead. The Blue Merchant was enveloped by the huge hand and couldn't move. Lan Shu. Lu Ming was shocked. The tyrant god spear appeared and became one with the spear, turning into a spear light that stabbed at the huge hand. However, it was like an ordinary person holding a wooden sword and stabbing at a steel wall. It didn't leave a single mark. Instead, the rebounding force sent Lu Ming flying. Damn it! The barbarians' experts were too strong. They weren't people they could deal with. This kid's strength isn't bad. Why don't I play with him? At this time, a tall and sturdy barbarian stepped out. He held a battle axe in his hand and grinned. 1st level divine monarch realm. Lu Ming could feel that this barbarian's cultivation was at the 1st level divine monarch realm. Killing one is enough. Killing two is a profit. Lu Ming said, his killing intent cold. Kill me? Ha, you're only at the 8th level divine king realm. You sure talk big. Let's see how you're going to kill me. The 1st level divine monarch realm barbarian laughed. He stepped out and slashed his battle axe at Lu Ming. An incomparably huge battle axe light filled the sky. It was too big, as if it could split open the sky. Break! Lu Ming roared. He circulated his divine power and poured it into the tyrant god's spear. Then, it turned into a shocking spear light that soared into the sky and pierced towards the battle axe. Boom! There was an earth-shattering explosion. The spear and battle axe light trembled at the same time. Then they both collapsed. 4 awakenings of divine power. No, even 4 awakenings shouldn't be this terrifying. The barbarian exclaimed in disbelief. Lu Ming was actually evenly matched with him in one move. How was this possible? 8th layer of the divine king realm could fight against a divine monarch realm expert? Furthermore, he had been on the battlefield for a long time and had experienced countless battles. His battle prowess was slightly stronger than ordinary 1st level divine lords. Kill! Lu Ming shouted and charged towards the other party. As he rushed out, an even more shocking aura erupted from his body. The battle formula increased his combat power by 5 times. Previously, he had only triggered the battle formula to increase his combat strength by 4 times. After all, 5 times wasn't a 100% success rate. There was still a chance. At the same time, secret skills of the origins appeared continuously around Lu Ming's body. Gate of Domination, Void-Shattering Sword, Sky Demon Blade. These origin source secret techniques all blasted towards the other party. So many source secret techniques. The Goliath roared out in shock. At the same time, he erupted with the full strength of his Divine Lord Realm Cultivation. He wildly slashed out with his axe, instantly creating over 100 axe lights that cut towards Lu Ming. As these axe lights collided with Lu Ming's source secret technique, a heaven-shaking explosion erupted. In the next moment, Lu Ming had already arrived, and the Tyrant God's spear slammed down. A series of explosions rang out as the axe lights exploded. The spear directly shot towards the Goliath. The Goliath was shocked and used his axe to block. With a clang, the Tyrant God's spear slammed into his axe. With a cracking sound, cracks appeared on his axe. His body violently trembled, and he was sent flying like a cannonball. He crashed into a meteor and coughed up large mouthfuls of blood. Lu Ming controlled the wind-extinguishing boots and merged them with his feet. With shocking speed, he charged at the other party, wanting to kill him. He still hadn't activated the Tyrant God Spear's power after severing the shackles, nor had he used his primordial god blood. Now wasn't the time. He wanted to find a suitable time to suddenly erupt and see if he could find a chance to charge out. This brat is so strong. 2 more go. A Goliath who obviously had a high status waved his hand. Then, 2 more Goliaths rushed over and slashed at Lu Ming with their axes. These 2 Goliaths were also first-level Divine Lords. The 2 of them joined forces and attacked Lu Ming from the front. Get lost. Lu Ming shouted and swept out his spear. The 2 Goliaths also retreated quickly. But with this block, the first Goliath caught his breath and came to the side of the other 2 Goliaths. The 3 Goliaths stood in a row. This brat is really monstrous. Be careful, don't capsize. The Goliath from before said. Join forces and support each other. Kill. The 3 Goliaths joined forces and attacked Lu Ming. The 3 of them seemed to have formed a battle formation and supported each other. Their combat strength was multiplied. Strange, there's no killing intent. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Although these Goliaths were shouting to kill, there was no killing intent on them. Lu Ming was a little puzzled, but he didn't have time to think. He waved the Tyrant God Spear and rushed towards the Goliaths. Bang, bang, bang. Both sides had a fierce battle, colliding continuously in the air, erupting with horrifying rumbles. This was the power of the Divine Lord Realm. Each collision was like a planet exploding, incomparably terrifying. For some time, both sides were actually locked in battle. What astonishing combat strength! An old Goliath exclaimed in admiration. Indeed astonishing, but I keep feeling that he hasn't used his full strength yet. Another Goliath said. Hasn't used his full strength yet? The other Goliath's hearts jumped. Already so freakish, and he still hadn't used his full strength. Then if he used his full strength, how freakish would it be? Let the second-level Divine Lords go. The person from before said. Really want the second-level Divine Lords to go? A Goliath said. Second-level Divine Lords seem to only be 1 level higher than first-level Divine Lords. But in the Divine Lord realm, the disparity between each level was too great. An existence 1 level higher could easily kill an existence 1 level lower, or even instantly kill. Although Lu Ming was strong, could he contend with a second-level Divine Lord existence? Not like this. How can we force him to use his full strength? Xen Chuan, you make your move. That Goliath from before looked at a middle-aged Goliath. Okay. This middle-aged Goliath was called Xen Chuan. He nodded his head, then took a step out, rushing toward Lu Ming Thayal's battlefield. When he approached, he directly slammed a punch out. A huge fist crushed toward Lu Ming. The terrifying fist pressure made the starry sky tremble wildly. Lu Ming's expression changed, figure retreating wildly. But the other party's fist force howled. its speed astonishing, pressing over. Bang! Lu Ming blocked with the Overlord God's spear. His body trembled wildly, and he was blasted out several 100,000 miles. All the muscles and bones in his body trembled. A stinging pain came from his wrist, bones almost breaking. Second-level Divine Lords, so strong. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. Second-level Divine Lords were too strong. Although he could contend with 3 first-level Divine Lord existences, facing off against a second-level Divine Lord existence, he was absolutely not a match. Looks like wanting to preserve strength won't work. Lu Ming thought in his heart. He still wanted to preserve strength and suddenly erupt, catching the other party by surprise. But now it could not. Facing off against a second-level Divine Lord, if he did not use his trump card, he would probably be directly killed by the other party.